Welcome, everybody. I'm excited. We're continuing the Believe series. I've got Dalila Conaway here with me today. She's going to share her powerful story about some of the results that she's been creating her business. Before we do that, we were talking off stage because I'm like looking at myself and I'm like having these issues right now. I'm like, why does my face look so ashy? So the other day I was literally like trying to wipe stuff off my face. Like, why does it look ashy? Put lotion on everything. And I realized I've been to Hawaii. We've been out in the sun. Then I just left and went to Costa Rica for a week, been out in the sun, at the beach, all kinds of stuff. So here's the thing, if you don't know this, and I don't know, maybe other nationalities have to do this too, but I know Black girls, we keep 2 powders on deck because in the summer, right, your skin goes darker. So that's what's happening. So I'm like, I'm sitting here looking like a ghost, like I'm should be in a coffin somewhere. And I'm like, what is wrong? She's like, you look great. I'm like, no, something is off. And I'm realizing that I need to pull out my other powder. If I have it, I'm going to go look because
you look amazing.
What is going on with my face? I was like adjusting my ring light, all kinds of stuff, trying to figure out why I look like this. And it's because I've got a summer tan because I decided to travel all over the place. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it for today. I'm going to do a quick introduction. So I'm going to have Dalila go away for a little while. I want to invite you guys to Game On Live. So I'm going to take a moment to do that. And then I'm going to bring her back and we're going to have this conversation about creating 6 figures very, very fast. And I know I've had a lot of clients come on and talk about this, but it's happening in my world over and over and over and over again. And I want you to see as many examples as possible of people that look like you, who have stories like you, who are changing the trajectory of their family's wealth code simply by first starting by believing. And that's what this series is all about. So Dalila, I'm going to say bye to you for just a second, and I'm going to do this quick invite to Game On Live. So we'll see you in a minute.
All right.
So again, this Believe series is me wanting to show you, like, I know people look at me and they go, Shameca, okay, you've been doing this for a while. You've got this, you've got that. And so I want to make sure that you see as many people as possible who are living the life that you want to live, who are accomplishing revenue goals in their businesses that they barely believe were possible even like 12 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. I was just looking at a video that I put into my group. I think it was 2019, October. And I was talking about letting go of the how and letting go of the push to become $1 million business owner and just being grateful for what is and doing the steps that are in front of me. And little did I know when I recorded that video that a little over 12 months later, or about 18 months later, actually a little over 12 months later, that I would cross $1 million in revenue in my business. And so I'm super excited about this series because it only takes one seed to be planted for you to realize what's possible for you, because that's what has happened for me. And I want to share that with you. And I also want to share with you the strategies, the mindsets, the belief systems that I've put in place for myself and anchored in for myself, and that I teach my clients over and over and over again. I've taught thousands of people how to do this work and helped hundreds of people cross into the 6-figure range in their business in faster and faster timeframes. I want to share with you at my event, November 11th, 12th, and 13th. Game On Live event is coming. So what you see in the comment section, you should see the link to gameonliveevent.com. If you register today, you can save $800 on your ticket. That price will be going up shortly, probably within the next few days or so. You can get a seat at Game On Live for $497. I could try to convince you why you need to be in the room. What I can tell you is this: it's not like any other event, program, training that you've been to. I believe in full body immersion. I believe in fully transforming from the inside out. And I believe in making sure that that happens within the space of the event that you're in, because I got tired of going to events, leaving excited and having nothing transform for myself. And so I wanted to create something different. And that's what we have done. So if you haven't already done so, grab your ticket to gameonliveevent.com. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's $497. So you're saving $800 if you hurry up and register, because that saving is going to end soon. So I'm going to bring Dalila back. Welcome back. Welcome back
Hello.
to the same old place we used to talk about. Let me pull this down. So I just want to give you a moment to introduce yourself and to tell people who you are and what you do in the world. Because the first question that I always get asked when I say someone has created six figures in a short amount of time, and for Dalila, which we're going to celebrate the heck about out of her. She's got a couple of celebrations, but she's done it in just a few short weeks with just some small tweaks. And so I want you to share who you are and what you do, because that's the first question people ask. Well, what do they do? And who are their clients? And all of those things. And I want to make sure that we get all of those beliefs and myths dispelled, that it can't be me because I do this or that, out of the way. And I want people to know who they're hearing from. So go ahead and take a moment, introduce yourself, tell people who you are and what you do in the world.
Well, hello, everybody. Super excited to be here. Love, love, love Coach Shameca. So it's an honor to be here. But I'm Dalila Conaway, a manifestation and lucrative business coach. And what I do is I help coaches, consultants, and service-based entrepreneurs manifest their dreams, show them how to create lucrative offers and close those lucrative offers with ease. And so that's what we love to get to do. And it's super, super exciting to share that with you.
So I'm excited to have you here because it's so funny. Like, we have so many celebrations inside of my community that I can't keep up. Like, I'm trying to like screenshot all the wins, and there's just a lot going on. And I feel like we're in this vortex. And so if you can just share with people, because I want to give them a sense of where you come from, because there's one thing to celebrate results when clients are already doing a thing, and then to celebrate results where you've helped to like be a foundation and a container for that client as they've grown into the leader that can actually create the type of results that you've created. So where were you and what were you trying to accomplish when you first started working with me and came into my world? And I think you started in Play Big, right? That was your first program experience with me? Okay, so she started in Play Big, and now she is a next level authority mastermind client. So I'm going to let you go ahead and share your own story. I can stop talking now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was in a space where, I was seeing myself grow, but I was wanting to be in an environment that lived and breathed and spoke abundance like 24/7. And so because I knew what God was calling me, like I felt this call to create massive wealth, to create more abundance than I had ever created inside of my business. And so seeing you online, that's really what you represented. You spoke it, you lived it, you breathed it. And so it was like, I need to be in that space, in that environment with her, but and also with those who were attached to you, who were experiencing amazing results. But like I said, it wasn't just the money, it wasn't just the results. I needed to be, like you said, immersed in the language of that, immersed in the environment where that was happening. And so I knew I needed to reach out to you at that point.
Super cool. So tell me how this has been, because I feel like I scare a lot of people. Like, a lot of people like, I want to work with her one day, but oh my gosh, I don't know what I want to do with her. And so I want you to talk about the results you've created and what that process has been like, or actually just what the experience has been like so far.
It's been amazing. And like, I think that's funny that you say people are scared of you, Coach, because to me, you release so much love. Like, you're serious about what you do. You're serious about, us creating results and being who we are and stepping into our most big and powerful self. But for me, I can feel the love in everything you do and what you say and how you share. And so don't be scared, because she's not going to bite you. She loves, loves, loves so hard and so big. And so for me, that's the draw, because my understanding about gifts is that they only operate through love. And so I felt that from you. And it was an easy yes for me.
Love it. So you've had a few six-figure months, but I want to talk about two in particular. Absolutely. So you had when we first started working together, we met and we just did a few tweaks in your positioning in the marketplace. And right after that, you had your first 6-figure week or month, it was just very fast. It was 2 weeks.
Right.
You did 6 figures in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
What was that like?
Whoa, I was like, wait a minute, is it real? I think I put it in the group chat. I was like, whoa, what's happening, y'all? Something is going on really quick. But we were in Play Big, and I was having, honestly, if I can be transparent, I was having some weeks where I wasn't making sales, and it seemed to be happening again and again and again. And you reached out, you were like, hey, I'm here to support, even if to just be a sounding board. What's going on? And I remember thinking, well, I don't have a question for her. It's great. The community is great. But then I thought of a question. I said, well, I have this 30K offer. I really want to sell more of it. Can you give me some feedback on that? And you just said, tweak this, tweak that. I think if you want to serve your clients at the highest level, consider this. Immediately, it was like, whoa, like head to toe certainty. That's the offer I need to lead with. And then once I had that clarity and certainty, just from that quick voice note you sent me, I knew who I needed to give that offer to. I knew who I needed to have conversations with once that clarity was there, once that certainty was there. And it was simple conversation. Hey, I'm working on something. I think you'd be great for this. Yes, 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 after yes. And so that's where the 100K in 2 weeks came from.
I love it. I've had some people come through my community because they're thinking like, okay, I pay her money and then I make 100K in the 30 days after I hire her. Now for Dalila, that was actually the case. It was within, a few weeks of us starting to work together because she was inside of a container that was only 12 weeks long. Mm-hmm. However, what we're referencing when we're talking about the 2 weeks period of time, it's like from the moment that you start to move on an offer and use a strategy, how much money do you create? How much money do you create in a month? How much money can you create in a day? That's what we're looking at. And so we had this conversation, and within 2 weeks, she had created over $100,000 in revenue. And I think that's dope. So I'm going to get my pom-pom and celebrate you, girl, because that's a big freaking deal. Because it's also a big deal that you took action on the coaching that I gave, on the mentorship that I gave, because I'm always like, here's what I see. Now it's up to you to decide how you want to move through that. And you did that. And I'm so excited for you. Now, that wasn't the first time you did that. So you had something else coming up. Now, here's the deal. Inside of my Next Level Authority Mastermind, we do laser coaching calls where it's a group call where everybody in the program is on the call. And so sometimes I give 6 minutes, and I've done it where it's only been 3 minutes per person to get coaching. And I want to talk about this time frame thing, but we're going to come back to that conversation. I want you to share what results you created because you got laser coaching on one of those calls for an event that you had coming up.
Absolutely. I had never attempted to sell at a live event. But it was something that I, like I said, environment, you always talk about proximity, other cohorts, other friends, they were doing it. And so it was like, hey, I've got this live event. I think I'm supposed to sell at this event. And so you were like, hey, all right, let me give you the strategy for it. I was like, whoa, okay, great. So we got on that. We were on the NLA call and you said, okay, when are your sessions? You're like, all right, session. All right. You're like, make the offer here, do a panel at lunch, do this there, and 4 yeses to a 30K offer at this event.
Yes! That's $120,000, by the way, y'all. Get it, girl. Hold on. Let me get my clapper too. That deserves clapping. Congratulations. I remember you asking, and I was like asking you, like, what's the structure of your event? And when you told me, I was like, okay, how do we turn this into a selling event? Because it was like jam-packed with just like hanging out, chilling. I was like, wait, we need to restructure this just a little bit without like overwhelming you. And I just got a download And I remembered it was something that I used to do when I used to do a one-day event because I only had one day to sell. And so I was like, do this. This always worked. I used to close 100% of the room every single time I did that.
Wow.
And I love it. Again, you implemented it. Here's what's beautiful about that to me. I see a lot of people go into programs and they are so afraid that if they don't have one-on-one coaching, if they don't get 45 minutes or 90 minutes with the coach, that they're not going to get results. And this is not just for me, this goes for you as well and everybody that's listening. When you are an expert at what you do, the more time people get with you, the more time they have access to you, the more value you can provide. I don't need 30 minutes to download. I've been doing this for such a long time. I just need a little bit of time and I can see all the things. I just need to ask the questions that I need to ask. Same is true for most of you, because you don't realize that you have so much information inside of you that if you give somebody that in 90 minutes or 2 hours or 3 hours or 6 hours, they most likely will leave overwhelmed. And so I just want to encourage you guys that you are a deep source and well of wisdom, knowledge, skill set, and everything. And if you can just trust yourself, you'll be able to guide your clients to the results that they want to create in a limited amount of time, because you have to trust the authority that's within you, trust the God gift that is within you. What was your excitement level, Dalila, when you made your offer and 4 people said yes to your offer?
Oh, beyond words that can be shared. It was like amazing, but it was also that feeling like, yes, these are the right yeses. Like these are the people that I'm really supposed to do this deeply powerful and transformational work with. That made it even more amazing. Like I said, making the offer, closing the sales, but then also those yeses, those individuals, I'm like, yes, I'm supposed to spend this time with them and do this with them. And so I think being coached on how to present the offer the right way called in the right people. I felt something, I felt a check in my spirit. They did too. That made it so amazing.
I love it. You mentioned 2 things earlier. One, you mentioned proximity. And so here's where belief comes in for me. It's one thing to just talk about like how great everything is and how easy, like we just talked about 6 minutes of coaching, one message that I sent her in Facebook Messenger that allowed her to be able to create 6 figures, both of these things 2 times a limited amount of time. But the reality of it is this journey to becoming the type of woman who creates 6 figures in a month, a day, a week, 2 weeks, even a year, is not linear. There are ups and downs, and the management of mindset is a huge part of it. Can you share what this journey of leadership has been like for you, and maybe even give some tips and strategies of things that you've done that have supported you into growing your leadership to this level and expanding your capacity to receive at this level?
Wow. Ooh, yes, absolutely. Showing up despite circumstances, choosing to serve, choosing to be in purpose, despite what may be going on, even in your personal life, deciding that this is your calling and what you're called to do and how you're called to serve the world is even bigger and more massive than hell breaking loose in the background, and noticing that those are the times of greatest impact. For me, those have been the times of the biggest sales, the most revenue coming in. When I decided, hey, I'm going to stay in purpose. I'm going to stay solid. I'm going to stay firm, show up and do what I'm called to do, serve the people I'm called to serve in spite of. So I would encourage anybody that may be experiencing some things. And I know, with what we do, we have to be out front. We have to show up, and circumstances could make you feel like, oh, I'll just hide out until things be okay. No, show up anyway. Get out there. And for me, that's when I felt the wind of God and his presence and his help the most during those times. So Absolutely.
I love that. Such a powerful share. I see people get taken out of the game very often. Now, this is not to say not to take care of yourself, right? We want to be fueled and filled and giving from our overflow. So whatever you need, sometimes you need to take time to deal with your emotions and all of those things. Like I was just telling a team member today who's been working after a tragedy has happened, after losing somebody in her life. And I'm like, you need to take some time before it's time to say goodbye. And so there is that, but then there's also so many people that I see where life happens and they decide to pull back. And what I know is that the people that I'm meant to work with, and I'm sure this is true for you too, Dalila, have a call on their life. It's not just a job. It's not just a business. Like for me, my business is like ministry for me. And so I know that I'm doing like the gift. I am the gift that God created me to be. Like this is God work for me.
Yes.
I don't have time to sit and waddle in self-pity because something on Facebook didn't go right, or someone said something about me that hurt my feelings. And stuff like that has happened. Like I've been dragged on the internet for all kinds of things. And it is what it is. Right. It is what it is. And so what I believe is helpful in those moments though, because if you're like me, you got what I call Lone Ranger syndrome, or I got this syndrome. You figure you got to put your head down and figure it out on your own. And what happens is you get pulled out. What I've learned to do is be surrounded by community, which is where proximity comes in, right? There is proximity to power. There's proximity to wealth. There's proximity to prosperity. So we want to be in proximity for those reasons, but we also want to be in proximity to people who will celebrate us when things are going well. Genuinely celebrate, not smile, but want to like stab you in your back while you're not looking.
Right.
And then you also want to be in proximity to those who will hold you up when you can barely hold yourself up, who will believe for you when your belief is wavering so that you can borrow their belief. That's where the power comes from. And so I just want you to share how that's been, how proximity has worked for you as you, again, have been expanding your capacity to receive and really anchoring your belief that, you know, you're going to be $1 million business owner. You are going to continue to have 6-figure months. All of those things.
Yes, it's been everything. That's been the thing that I needed because, like you said, Coach, Lone Ranger syndrome. Me all day, every day. I don't know if it comes from being the oldest child. You know, you can't, you know, don't cause any problems. You got to lead the pack, you know, and so you learn to be alone. Well, for me, from my experience, I took that to say, work it out by yourself. You know, don't create a ruckus and all that. But through working with you and through how you partner us up, I don't know if people know that we get power partners, you know, in some of the community, in our community. And it's like, no, Dalila, you're not going to get to $1 million alone. People who have $1 million business, they're not doing it by themselves. It's proximity, it's community, it's friends in success right along with you. And so that's what I needed. I needed to connect with you because I needed to see the value in proximity, not just hanging out in the background and pretending like nothing's going on.
Right.
Because if you guys know Shameca, she can see right straight through you. Like she's like, she can see through you through 1,000 midnights. She's like, no, ma'am. But not just you, the other,
everybody,
partner, everybody's looking out for everybody. And that's the strength that's needed to go to the next level.
Yeah, that's so funny. I was talking to someone, a client the other day, and I was like, are you good? And she was like, yeah. And I could just I was like, no, you're not. So I was like, you sure? And she just, actually her husband started laughing because he was like, yeah, she's not good. There is something going on. There's so much power in having people that are willing to, one, tell you the truth in love, two, come get you. Because here's what I know too, like the people that I serve are so powerful in their languaging and how they show up in the world, just their giftings, that they say stuff and the majority of the world just believes them. They can talk a good game. You're like, oh, okay, that sounds about right. And I'm like, yeah, no. No.
She's like, what's going on?
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. I want to talk about, actually, no, I want you, like if you had just a couple of minutes with somebody who is in a similar situation for you. You were talking about earlier, you knew that God had something bigger for you. You just weren't quite sure how to manifest it. You weren't sure how to tap into your own power of creation and manifestation to make that come to pass. And you were searching. And so there's a person or people that are listening or watching right now who have, I always say this, these people are coded for millions. They're coded for big impact. It's in their DNA. It's a call that's in their soul. And sometimes they don't even utter it or speak it because no one around them will really get it. It may even seem a little arrogant or like out of touch to a lot of people because most people don't live the type of lives that we live in my community where people are creating $100,000 in a day. Right? That's not a normal thing. We always talk about that. We're not normal. We're not average. We get that. But we're also here to make a difference. And so if somebody who's like you is listening and they're in that same space, they're searching, seeking, they have that knowing, they just don't have the how, what would you share with them?
Absolutely. I would say trust that knowing, because, even when you start creating it, it still always comes back to that knowing. It still comes back to that inner knowing that you are created. And like you said, coded for millions. You're coded to create wealth. Don't think that something outside, that you have to go get something outside of yourself and bring it into yourself to make it happen. No, it was already there on the inside of you before the foundations of the world. And so you don't have to lean on, something else, some other, and pull. And I'm saying that from personal experience. And I've done that. I've hired the wrong person in my business because I thought they got a skill set that's going to get me to it. And no, it's in you. You're the leader. And so trust and know that they come along as an accessory to help the vision go forward, but it's already in you. And so trust that.
Okay. So good. I love that you said before the foundations of the world, because I truly believe that everything that you are meant to have on this earth to be the God gift that you are, it's inside of you already. And it's been there before the world was even formed, not just before your time. Like it's always been there. And it's just a matter of trusting, unlocking, and reconnecting to it, because most of us have been separated from it. I believe that there was a point in time in our lives where we were truly knowledgeable that we could do anything, that what we were meant to do, we would do. And then the world kind of beats it out of us. The world snatches it away. The world mirrors back to you. It's not even a mirror. The world puts something up and says, hey, try this, be this. And so we begin to morph our identities until we're showing up in a way. This is what I like to explain it. Like you're a giant, right? Everybody's not a giant, but you're a giant walking around in a world where people are 5'9", 6'4", whatever, hunched over, pretending to be average and normal. A shell of yourself. You're sending your representative to show up in the world because that's what you think will be palatable to people. And it's really tapping into that. What's encoded in you before the foundations of the world is to not look at anybody else and to let that bigness that's inside of you shine. Let it show up. Become the leader that you're meant to be. And that's when everything clicks into place. So I love that you shared that. You wrote something to me. I'm going to read what you wrote. There's two things that you wrote that I thought were super powerful. I always ask people when we're doing these, what is it that you want to talk about? And so I think this is just a powerful conversation to have. I feel like it's on time for those who are listening. So we're going to roll with it. You said that you wanted to talk about leading with trust and unapologetically owning one's desire to be
Yes.
not be wealthy,
Mm-hmm.
but to be wealth.
Yes.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So wealth is a state of being. Wealth is a state of being. Like we just mentioned, it's from the inside out. And so because I am wealth, I attract wealth to my life. I attract wealthy opportunities. I stand before a door and it opens for me because of who I am. It has to obey what's inside of me. And that being is wealth. And that's absolutely something that's anchored inside of our coaching community. That being, that wealth being, is super, super powerful.
I love it. The last thing you said, and I'm actually probably going to quote this very often because I thought, wow, that's a really powerful way to talk about what it's been like for you inside of this container that we create. I always call them courage containers. It's just something that God kind of downloaded to me, that one, to start calling my programs containers, but then also courage container, because it's the space where we're all being held while we're pressing the edge of our comfort zone. And I believe that the gap between where you are and where you want to be is courage. That's the gap. That's the thing you have to lean into in order to connect the two, to bridge the two, so that you can transcend from one area to the other. And so you were talking about your results, that you did 100K in 2 weeks from one simple message, that you did 120K at your event from 6 minutes of coaching with me on a group coaching call. And you wrote, to me, one can experience a massive shift from micro minutes with me, with you, because time is relative and impact is instant.
Yes.
What did you mean?
That's the world we live in with you. I think everybody will say what I'm saying. It's not that you have to spend so many days being coached by you. One voice note literally shifted me from 0 weeks to 100K in 2 weeks. 1 6-minute during the call, put your offer here, put it there, do this, do that. Literally allowed us to bring in 120K from one event. And so it's not about, like you said, sometimes we think it takes days and days and weeks and months. No, it takes decision. This is what I want to create. Decision for me, deciding to receive and know that my coach is going to tell me what I need to know to make this work, make this happen, and then carrying it out. Those are just a couple minutes, a couple exchanges, but so powerful on the giving and receiving end. I believe produce those results.
Thank you for sharing that. I just want to say this for anybody that's listening and you're like, but how do I do $120,000 at my next event? How do I do 6 figures in a day, 2 weeks, a month? How? I want to say this. One of the things I drive home the most is that time is relative. Time is relative, and time is a man-made construct. God didn't invent time. We did, because we were trying to take this infinite wisdom of how the world was created and put it into a format that we could understand and control. Right. And so when you can become one with that knowing, you release time, the timing of things, because to everything there is a season, right? There's seed time and harvest time. There's a time to live. There's a time to die. There's a time to mourn. There's a time for joy. There's a time for sorrow. There's a time for everything. There's seasons for everything. And those seasons ebb and flow and they come and go. And I think one of the most powerful things that we've been able to do inside of this community is to release the timing of things to God. We just let it go. Like, here's the desire. Like she said, I decided a thing and I would love for it to happen in this time frame, but I'm okay because I know that it's inevitable, that it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that is the thing that allows it to come faster and faster and faster and faster.
That's been so powerful for me to just, because being kind of like type A, you know, like, let's do all the things, make all the sales, let's do it today, let's do it like yesterday. That one of the things that you taught over and over that's sinking in for me even more is the fact it's okay, it's gonna happen. Like, you're gonna gross $1 million. Like, it's gonna happen. You're gonna do 6 figures. It's gonna happen. You don't worry about it, whether it happened today, tomorrow, last week. You rest in the fact that it's going to happen. It is your destiny. It's gonna happen. And then to me, that makes it happen faster.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to do one more invitation to Game On Live. So I'm going to pop this thing up real quick so that it populates the chat. Tickets to Game On Live are currently $497. This is the place where I go deep into both strategy and the mindset, belief systems, the mindset, belief, and even like the spiritual anchoring that needs to happen in order for you to create on this level. Because what we're trying to do is collapse time. And that only happens when you're co-creating with God, right? It doesn't happen when you're trying to make it happen. So yeah, I'm very strategic, but I'm also a little bit woo on this side of like, here's how we line this all together. And so if you would like to be a part of a program where you can make an investment and get the knowledge, the wisdom, and the beliefs imbued, if not into you, that you need in order for you to create exactly what it is that you're trying to create. If you even feel a sense of like, this is a community that I need to be connected to, locked into, run, don't walk to gameonliveevent.com. Let me put it up here so that you guys can see it. And I want to say it for those of you guys who are listening on the podcast later on. Go to gameonliveevent.com. This will be the 3rd year that we're doing this event. As I always say, it is not really an event. Game on is a war cry. It is you saying, I'm bringing everything I got. You're telling the world, bring it. I'm ready. It's on. I got this. I'm decided. I'm creating. I'm being impactful. I'm unleashing my code, that $1 million code, that $1 billion code. I'm unleashing everything inside of me, and I'm leaving no stone unturned so that I can have the impact, the influence, and the wealth that I desire to create. We're talking about building dynasty businesses. This isn't about making enough money to pay your bills. That's why my clients are creating 6 figures in a month, multiple 6 figures in a month. That's why we're focused on that level. I know there's lots of people that are like, well, you got to do 5 figures before 10. You could skip it. It's possible. Some people stair step, others quantum leap, right? And we're about quantum leaping here. And that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. I'm going to teach you how to tap into that quantum field. I'm going to teach you how to tap into the creation field of the divine and co-create with God exactly what you were meant to create in the first place so that you can be a bigger difference in the world. Because I believe that money in the hands of good people is what is going to shift this planet. Period. End of story. So gameonliveevent.com. Tickets are now $497. I know it's changing in a few days. I'm not quite sure of the date. I will have the exact date tomorrow because we're going to go live again tomorrow. But I just wanted to make that invitation. If you want to finish your year strong and you want to move into 2022, which is where we are right now as we're recording this, more certain and more powerful than you've ever been or felt in your life, this is your invitation. If you're looking for a sign, this is your sign. For those of you who will be joining us, I will see you at Game On Live. Dalila, first of all, I'm super honored to be your mentor, to be your coach, and to be on this journey with you. I am super proud of all that you've accomplished and the work that you're doing to stay engaged and keep growing in your leadership. And I'm even more grateful that you decided to be here today to share your story and your wisdom with everybody who's listening. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Coach. It's an honor to be here. Literally an honor for me.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We're going to take off. We'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for watching my show, my channel. Here's what I want you to do. If you really love what you've been listening to, I want you to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. No, really, leave a comment. Like right now. I'm not going to stop talking until you leave a comment. Seriously, leave a comment.